Motorhead Garage, the program that each week introduces you to and shows you how to install the latest and exciting and innovative products for your vehicle. Motorhead Garage is presented by NHOU Protective Coatings. Now here's your host, Dave Dobson.
Welcome to Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings. You know, it was Billy Joel who sang, "The good old days weren't always good," and that may be right when it comes to cars in some cases. You know, you remember cruising around in a classic car, and when you go back and drive them today, you realize they don't handle the way they used to, and that's why folks are doing resto mods, putting new suspension in, new engines, and that sort of thing. And when you were driving around in those classic cars, you remember listening to your favorite tunes and having a good time. When you listen to them today on the old stereos, you realize it's not the way it used to be. I always say it's like listening to a clock radio when you're going 55 miles an hour down the road. So if you want to upgrade your sound and make that as modern as your car, if you're restoring it, you're going to want to go to Custom Auto Sound. You're able to take the vintage look and you can upgrade it with all the modern conveniences like Bluetooth, aux input, CD player, any of that sort of thing. And it's going to sound just like a new system. But one thing that they have that I really like is the slide bar radio. It's got a digital readout, so you can see every display you need to see when it comes to your Bluetooth and that sort of thing. But then when you park your vehicle or when you have it at the show, you slide it over and you have the old analog look, just like the original stereo that was in the car. Now, Custom Auto Sound Manufacturing has been working for years and years in perfecting it. They have 17 different makes that they cover and over 400 different cars that they make stereos for. And they, of course, also have universal stereos you can put in your vehicle if they don't make it for your specific car or truck. How do we know it's a good quality product? Well, they test these things like you wouldn't believe. There's a temperature aging test to make sure they're going to stand the test of time, especially if you're in a hot climate. The extreme temperature test, cold and hot, and a vibration test, which is oh so important when you're driving a hot rod and you're going to shake that thing to the ground. You make sure your stereo is going to stay in good shape. Now, when it comes to products, we're also talking about custom speakers. You've got backseat speakers, dual speakers, even Kenwood speakers that they sell on their website. And if you want speakers down by the kick panels, blends right in with the original decor in your car. Also a sound bar, that might be something you're interested in. They even have a speaker panel for Volkswagens and for Thunderbirds in particular. Universal speakers, of course, if you want some nice chrome looking stuff that's going to blend right in with a 50s or 60s car. And of course, voltage boosters and all the accessories you would need to go with your stereo. And talking about accessories, when you get a Custom Auto Sound stereo, it comes with all the bracketry you need to mount it. Also the harnesses, I love this. The harnesses are labeled, so everything on it tells you exactly where it needs to go. There's no mistaking. You're not going to have any problem installing this in your car. It's super easy to do, and we're going to show you here on this 55 Chevy just how easy it is. The owner of this car bought it in working condition, and he likes driving it, and he's going to do it until he gets a chance to totally restore it. So he's taking care of the essentials first. We've got the Hula Girl on the dash, and we're also going to install our stereo. I have to mention, I put the seat cover in because I didn't want to get my clothes dirty. I also didn't want to get tetanus. And before you work on anything electrical in your car, you're going to want to disconnect the battery. We've done that. We've also installed speakers in the car, so that's a step that you're not going to see here on television, but we will show you how to install the head unit here. And there's several ways to connect your accessories. We've got the iPod specific cable, we've got an aux cable, and we have the USB cable. So you can have your Bluetooth, you can listen to your tunes while you're cruising down the road. Now this car, believe it or not, never had a stereo in the first place. Back in 1955, that was a $100 option. The original owner didn't want it, so it had this nice dummy panel there. We're going to take that off, and we are going to go in through the glove box opening. We've already removed that glove compartment, and on the back side here, there's a simple connector here for our power harness. Clips in right there, and we don't have an antenna or power antenna because it didn't come with a stereo in the first place, but Custom Auto Sound has antennas that we can fit to our car, and we're going to do that later. And we will slide it into the original slide. You can already see with the slide bar radio, it looks incredible. It looks just like the original stereo. So we got a couple washers to put here on the front to make sure this stays in place. Washers if you're in Iowa, and the nuts go on top of that. We'll do it on both sides. Not too difficult in a car like this, plenty of room. Sometimes if you're in another vehicle, you might end up doing some acrobatics to get to it, but it's not too tough. And you might want a buddy sometimes to hold onto the stereo to hold it in place while you're doing stuff like this. And that nut is on, and we are almost ready to rock and roll here. All we got to do is, we got a couple of caps here that go over the stems, and then the knobs go on top, and that's going to look just like a stereo from 1955. It's that classic look for your classic car, but modern sound to make life better while you are cruising around. You can find them at CustomAutoSoundMFG.com. They've got 400 different models they cover, or universal ones, to make sure they have the stereo that's going to fit your car. We'll be right back with more Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings, right after this.
Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings, is brought to you by RockAuto.com. All the parts your car will ever need. I-69 Motorsports. I got mine at I-69. Cheap Steel, manufacturers of steel products for America's #1 vehicle. And by NH Oil Undercoating, the official oil-based rust prevention system.
This is Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings, and this is a segment you're going to watch. If you have a performance vehicle, whether it's for the street or for the racetrack, you are going to want to get to know Vibrant Performance. And Aaron Weir, hanging out up north in Canada, tell me what Vibrant Performance can do for my performance car.
We provide all the components for you to be able to build a custom exhaust or a custom intake or a custom intercooler setup for your turbocharged application. We provide all the components for the fabricator to be able to build that custom job.
How difficult is it to work with different manufacturers of different aftermarket parts that you're putting together?
It's not too difficult because our products are so diverse. We have over 3,000 different part numbers. So we work with a bunch of different manufacturers. Our components are compatible with just about most other companies' parts that are available. And our customers don't have any issues dealing with our parts when they're trying to fit a resonator into an exhaust system that's already built by another manufacturer, or if they're trying to piece together a hose assembly that they want to put into their fuel system that's going to connect from their fuel pump to their fuel rail. We have all the parts that you would need to glue everything together.
What are some of the most common problems you get, or people that need a solution for what they're doing?
A lot of people will call us with questions about a product that they've bought maybe from someone else that they want to add something to it, or they want to modify it and customize it and really tailor it and make it their own real signature product or their own signature system for an exhaust, for example, or an intake. And everybody wants to put their own kind of stamp on their own project, their vehicle, whatever they happen to be working on. So we're able to help out with providing our own experience so we can make sure that they get the right product for what they're working on.
And you're doing all kinds of great R&D, because your products are also not just on street cars, you're doing stuff for really high performance machines out there, aren't you?
Because we have no application specific products, all our products are universal, so they could be used in just about any kind of different motorsport. You'll see our products in time attack race cars, drag cars, motorcycles, boats, pulling trucks, just about anything that wants to go fast, you can see Vibrant's name on.
If I've got a problem that I need to solve, what should be my first step?
Just pick up the phone and give us a call. We take great pride in our customer service. We appreciate it when customers do call us. When they do have a problem, we work very hard to provide the best solution. We take a lot of time to develop a relationship with each customer on a one-on-one basis. We'll ask lots of questions about their project. We want to see pictures of what they're working on, because we're gearheads too. We love to go fast, and we love to help our customers go fast.
One of your most popular parts is your HD clamp. Tell me about that. What are some of the applications for that?
So our HD clamping system is very popular. It would be typically a replacement for a silicone coupler and a charge pipe system. So our diesel customers really love them because they hold all the boost. It's a quick release clamping system, so you don't need any tools to take it apart. It's just a quick release pin that you pull out and the clamp opens up, so that you can take that clamp off, and then your charge pipe assembly will come apart very easily. So if you're at the track and you have something that you need to work on and your pipes are in the way, it makes it really quick and easy to service what you need to service by just quickly moving those parts out of the way. And they do hold upwards of 800 PSI, so they're gonna hold any kind of pressure that you can throw at them.
And now you're making it even easier to put the HD clamp on your vehicle with a new tool that you have.
Yes, this is our HD alignment tool. So we recommend that you have an HD clamp assembly at each end of your charge pipe. And ideally you want a gap between these weld ferrules when you assemble it together when it's finished being fabricated. So it's basically floating in air. You should be able to wiggle that pipe freely by hand between the two ends. So we've taken all the challenge out of trying to fabricate that floating piece of pipe between the two ends by introducing our alignment tool. So basically the alignment tool would go over the two ferrules, and it has a groove in it that allows the flanges to fit inside, and it's not going to damage the O-ring groove, or that O-ring has to seal against the union sleeve, and it's not going to damage your clamp because you're not using your clamp either when you're doing that fabrication. So it takes a lot of the challenge out of it and really optimizes the gaps between these flanges so that you're going to get the best result with that assembly when you're done welding it all together.
All right, Aaron, if people want to find you, where can they look?
The best place to find our parts would be to go on our website, vibrantperformance.com, where you can find all our verified dealers and distributors.
All right, well, they're going to tell you that they're selling you parts, but what they're really selling you is time saved and problem solved. Check them out on the web. We'll be right back with more Motorhead Garage presented by NHOU Protective Coatings right after this.
Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings, coming to you from Borla Commerce Park.
Welcome back to Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings. You know, Subarus like this one are so popular in the United States. In fact, 700,000 of them are sold every year. Patrick, why?
Well, they're great on-road and great off-road, perfect family car, and great for adventures.
Well, you guys at Anderson Design and Fabrications improve Subarus. You can upgrade them thanks to you guys. What kind of products do you have?
So we specialize in lift kits and off-road accessories for your Subaru. Anywhere from simple 1-inch kits like this all the way up to 1.5 for a lot of these newer models. We offer some lighting accessory brackets to increase your lighting off-road capabilities.
We'll talk about the lift kits in just a minute, but first let's talk about those lighting brackets. Complicated to install?
No, they take about probably 15 minutes depending on model. Simple 210mm nuts removed from the hood hinge, and then these install right over that, and then you reinstall the brackets.
And you're talking safety?
Yep.
And good looks too.
Yep, definitely. Make them look more aggressive.
I love it. And you've got the battery strap there. Pretty simple piece there, but it's good looking. Mm-hmm. And what does that do for us?
Definitely just ties down your battery, prevents it from moving, it prevents from cracking if it definitely are out beating it around.
One of the really cool pieces I've seen is the gear rack that you guys offer.
Yeah, so for some of the Subaru models, we offer some modular storage racks. Some people call them molly racks. And this is where we can install a lot of your other accessories that typically sit on the back seat or on the floor. Fire extinguisher, first aid kits, etc., like that.
So you have extra room for people,
yep,
and you don't want that stuff bouncing around when you're going off-road.
Definitely.
And if you're going off-road, you might want a lift kit, which we touched on earlier. Tell me what you have as far as lift kits, and these are your most popular item, right?
Definitely. So we offer quite a range depending on make, model, and year. On the lower end of the spectrum as far as price goes, we offer 1-inch kits. Simple HDPE plastic. They hold up for years. We've yet to have any issues with them. If you're looking for something a little more long-term, that lasts a lot longer, we offer a steel 1.5-inch kit that has all your camber and caster corrections, and then also includes all the alignment spacers for the rear subframe. And what this does, it corrects for all the geometry change. That way your factory alignment goes right back into spec, and there's no issue down the road.
What kind of problems have you seen from folks doing a home job, not using your parts, and just trying to do a lift by themselves?
I get a lot of phone calls.
I bet you do. What are some of the bigger problems you run into if you're lifting a car and you don't do the geometry right?
So if you don't account for the geometry change from the lift, what typically happens is you add more positive camber, and what this does, it wears out your tires prematurely, affects handling. Definitely not something you would want to do.
How do you guys do your R&D?
So a lot of our R&D is all in-house. Typically what we do is either reach out to customers or purchase our own vehicle. We've started back in, well, we've been building kits since probably 2012. From there we start with 1970 and build lift kits all the way up to current models. So we've got our fair share of knowledge as far as Subarus go and their geometry.
How many folks are making parts for such a wide variety of Subarus?
So we're pretty much the only company in the world building lift kits for as many models as there are Subarus.
Now, one other problem you told me about when you lift a Subaru, some folks are noticing some issues, and you guys have helped compensate for that. That's
correct.
The little guy right there.
So this is a CVT anti-wobble insert. This insert's behind the section of the transmission and fills a void. I'd say 95% of the time we're able to get rid of this wobble or shudder that some people get. This is when you lift over 1.5 inches from our experience.
How do I know I'm getting a good part? Where's all this designed and made?
Right here in the USA.
Right in your shop?
Yep, right in our shop out in Oregon.
That's fantastic. And what if there's an issue with it? What about warranty and that sort of thing?
If there's ever a warranty, which we have not had one yet, give us a call. I'm the person who answers the phone, and we can get you set.
So if I know I want to lift my Subaru, but I don't know exactly what to do, what's my first step?
Give us a call or shoot us an email.
All right, where can we find you on the web?
awdadventure.com.
Well, if you've got a Subaru, they've got something for you. Check them out on the web. Stay tuned because we have more. Motorhead Garage presented by NHOU Protective Coatings coming up right after this.
Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings, is brought to you by Blood Type Racing. Let's make your dreams a reality. Rally Armor, setting the standard in mud flaps. Alpine Motorsports, no compromise. And by BrothersTrucks.com, your #1 source for 1947 to 87 Chevy and GMC truck restoration.
Welcome back to Motorhead Garage presented by NHOU Protective Coatings. Now we're going to take a walk down memory lane and visit our sister show called Performance TV. And here's one of the hosts over there, Joe Costello.
Wouldn't it be great if you could reverse engine wear, make things new again? Well, Pasha from Tribotex is back, and that is exactly what you have developed. First off, how did this all come about?
When I started my PhD research, we was working on biomedical implants for knees and hips, and we looked at the very safe materials that can reduce wear in those vital parts. And the material, it's nanoparticles that are flat and have two different sides, but one side is sticky, another is slippery. So a sticky side attaches to a surface and slippery form a film. And particle by particle, they build up to compensate for the wear that was accumulated there for decades.
So thinking about medical devices, you can build an engine a lot easier than you can go in and do surgery on a person. That's why this is so important and why the technology evolved. But then you guys figured out engines, perfect application.
We would try to bring this technology to knees or hips implant. You have to be ready to serious capital investment over many years for the FDA approval, for adoption in the field. But in the engine, results actually, in fact, better. And the distance to the market happened to be already 10 years. So we started research in 2009, and we are happy to kind of enjoy the fruits of our labor.
Well, you received a very powerful response the first time around. How is it done in that you've got an engine that is worn, it's got miles on it, but you want to bring things back with Tribotech?
Many people who look at the classic cars, who look at the high-performance cars, who love their current car and wanted to keep longer, looking into coming out of the winter and they hear more noises in the engine, and they think, what I can do to make it quieter, make it a little bit better. Okay, I'll replace filters, I do maintenance. Tribotex, it's a next step to rewind time on that wear on the critical components. Interesting example, if you have bearing and typical bearing is round, right? Over time it wears up and become elliptic, and shafts start to vibrate in that area, and you hear it as a regular noise. So every time when it hits, it creates click sound, and when it hits times per minute, right, it creates noise. So every time when the particles delivered there, they attached, and over time, layer by layer by layer, these particles shrink bearings back where they was before.
It's nanoparticles, something that we've heard a lot about if we spend any time reading. But how does this work in an engine? How does a nanoparticle fill in what is normal engine wear?
You use the term fill in, but it's much more than that. Any soft metal, any borates or anything can fill in grooves, but none of them goes on top of the asperities. So if you want to build flat surface up, you have to do something special, and we have exactly that special feature. So on that special feature, let me show with the little prop I have here in the form of the sticky knots. So when you get the sticky knot and attach it to a surface one by one, it's only going to attach by one sticky side, and slippery always going to be on top. So particle by particle, they form a film that is not going to be perfect and uniform and all aligned, It's going to have gaps and pores, and those gaps and pores are going to be filled with lubricants, just like a synovial fluid in your joint. And that structure have remarkable properties. So first of all, it builds itself up when the vibration happens. Second, when the shock or impact happen, when sudden load or combustion, right, that film compacts itself and it emits a little bit of the lubricant, just like a synovial fluid. That is remarkable.
You've got it for gas engines, you've got it for diesel engines, but you've also got something new now for transmissions.
That's right, Joe. We're releasing transmission edition on crowdfunding platforms, and then it's going to go to retail. And transmission is actually easier to make than engine. Engine have all kind of different friction interfaces, but transmission, it's pretty much steel on steel. And results we see in transmissions are dramatic, especially in CVTs, in regular automatic ones, and in manual gearboxes. We have two products, one for automatic, one for manual.
Well, it's very interesting. If you're interested in reducing or reversing wear, you're going to want to check them out. So many people have already.
Well, that brings us to the end of another edition of Motorhead Garage. We're glad you came along. If you have an idea or a product you want to see on our show, email jeff@masterstv.com. And from our entire crew here, we will see you next time on Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings.